congratulations on the movie. It's a great one. I really enjoyed it.
Thank you.
So you wrote it all together.
That's right.
Yeah. So how did this collaboration work?
It started with Jonas and I in a car traveling from one film festival to another in Canada, and we started talking about what we wanted to do next. And we were just at that point we were touring a comedy that played at Glasgow called James versus His Future Self, and we were just discussing the kind of film we want to make next. And Jonas said he'd always wanted to make something that was kind of a small chamber piece with just a small number of actors, maybe one location. That's really just an acting showcase, not showcase, but something that you could really dig your teeth into as an actor. And I said that's interesting for me, but only if the stakes are like the end of the world. And that's how it started off. And then we back and forth what that would look like. Jonas didn't think he's like, that sounds ridiculous. It's going to be, And so we went back and forth and kind of came up with this rough concept. And then, basically as soon as we landed in the next city, I sent an email to Amanda asking if she had time for a call. Because we kind of also, while we were in that car ride, put together a very short list of who we thought we'd like to play with and do a film like this with. Amanda was like top of the list.
Yeah. And I've worked with Jeremy before, and I hadn't worked with Jonas, but I know of his work. And so Jeremy could call me and ask me to do anything, not anything. But I was just so thrilled to be a part of this and to be in this, especially because there weren't any rules. It was so unique. It was so collaborative. And had I known that we were about to go into a pandemic, I would have been even more excited because it did fill a lot of our time. But it was just something that, it just really called to me.
Yeah, and the way we structured it was that Jeremy and I had a loose idea for what the film would look like. Then Jeremy worked one-on-one with myself and Amanda to sort of construct the characters and the backstory. It was very collaborative. Amanda got to sort of build her character with Jeremy. I got to build my character with Jeremy, and Jeremy was the sort of keeper of all of this. And the actors were all the actors were very collaboratively invited to help sort of design their characters and backstories. And from there, we all got to be a part of that process. And then ultimately it's Jeremy's sort of the master keeper of all of the characters and all the ideas, and had the biggest sense the cleanest sense for what was going to happen.
And is that why there was only like one director? Because you guys were with three, and so it's not like three directors once.
No, Jeremy fully directed this movie, and there's no question of anybody sharing that credit with him. This is his master plan, and this is his baby in that way.
It was really interesting too with Jeremy, because having worked with him before, but in a comedy, occasionally he would have us redo the scene, but give a completely different, throw us different tactics, different intentions. It would have a very different sort of feel. One would be almost comedic, almost just sort of touching the lighter notes, and one would be incredibly intense and dark, and you don't get a lot of opportunity to do that, especially with independent films. Sort of directors have a vision and they don't have a lot of time, but there was a lot of play and a lot of Jeremy just throwing different things at us, and we all willingly jumped on board. So that was the coolest thing about him directing.
Nice. And so were the scenes that were in the script like some were improvised or not? Because like on set he probably threw a lot to you as well. So were there like scenes that make it into the movie but that weren't like scripted out?
Yeah, like Jeremy knew we knew what had to happen in each scene, and Jeremy had a guideline, but there was a lot of freedom and a lot of improvisation. He would throw at us different takes on the scene, and Amanda and I were very comfortable kind of going off script and trying different things. And there were even times where Jeremy had sort of ideas about what our characters wanted that he didn't share with the other actors. So there'd be scenes where we'd be playing and he would give me a secret, motivation, and we'd go a little off the script, and take it in one direction, and it would end up being very surprising for Amanda, and vice versa. And that was a really unique and fun way to make a film.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, I think it also fits into the movie itself, like into the atmosphere of the movie, right? Like, because that's what it's about.
Yeah, I think there's something very alive about the performances from both Jonas and Amanda, but also the entire cast, because we did that. They never quite knew what was going to happen from scene to scene. In terms of that, like, I'd constantly be throwing new things. I'd take one off to give them a secret direction, or just make the other actors think I was giving them a secret direction. So it just made the actors always really on their toes. I devised hand signals that I could use in scenes for when I wanted them to try something different, so we could kind of like quickly go from one to the other. So there's a lot of this, because also what I wanted to do too, kind of psychologically with the cast, was kind of create this atmosphere of like immense amount of truth with each other, but also secrets, and the idea that you might not have all the information. Some things might be being hidden from you because the characters are also going through that. So I wanted there to be kind of not a paranoia, but I guess a playful paranoia.
I didn't have any hand signals, so when there's all this baseball stuff going on behind my back, after a few weeks, it's paranoia inducing.
Did you pick any of those hand signals up? Because there was used to. No, oh God.
No. Everyone had their own unique one, and I could never figure out what like up meant or down, and so then
actually, what Amanda doesn't know is that someone else didn't have them either, but they saw me giving them, so I had to make one up, and theirs didn't actually mean anything.
I mean,
what? There's a lot going on.
The central conceit of the movie, obviously, is that Amanda's character, Amanda's character doesn't know what's going on. That there's a mystery, a central core mystery in the movie. And so, part of the way we approached shooting this film, and Jeremy being the overseer of it all, was how do you do that in a way that in some regard keeps Amanda the actor also guessing and trying to solve a mystery. And so it was a really playful kind of way to make a film, and we were all kind of experimenting with that, but at the same time, we had a very specific vision Jeremy knew at every moment exactly where this was going. And so the feeling you get ideally when you watch the movie is that it's this tense kind of roller coaster ride where you're guessing and you're trying to solve mysteries. You're kind of along for the ride with Amanda's character, but you're always in good hands. There's no sense of, we always know where the finish line is. And it was all about trying to find a way to get there that feels alive and energetic and playful and entertaining.
Nice. And so where was the main part of the movie shot? I mean, the house is great and like very remote as well. So where do you guys shoot it?
Well, that was part of when that was the first thing that we did, was figure out the location, because we went, well, we're going to do, a contained location. We need something that we either have access to already or can get. And so that's a family farmhouse that's been in my wife's family for almost 200 years. And so that was the first location I pitched, because I know we can get it for free. I also know for me, it was like, I don't want to make a movie with people just talking that is all in one room, or all in one, a house with only a couple of rooms. So I knew what was great about the farm was that it offered a lot of locations, both outside and inside. So that way, no scene would have to be in the same room twice, or at least look the same if it was in the same room. I just knew that it offered a lot of depth for shots and movement to move around, and an atmosphere and way. And then they knew that the river was there and there was paths nearby. So it just gave a lot of options. So the movie, even though it's a small chamber piece that all takes place mostly in one location, it doesn't necessarily feel like that. It doesn't feel claustrophobic in that way.
Yeah, and that worked really well for us, because we came up with it pre-COVID, and then 5 months later, the pandemic hit and the lockdowns happened. We were already set up to shoot a movie with minimal amount of people in one private location. So it actually lent itself pretty easily to shooting during the pandemic. was a bonus for us.
Yeah, because it really looks like it could have been made really in like the pandemic itself and written as well. Because it was like a very small cast and very remote. So yeah,
I think that's the most interesting thing out of all of the secrets and the sort of avant-garde way of shooting and the approach that we took to this. The most interesting thing about this is that the idea about the sort of water crisis that mimics or is parallel to a pandemic, that idea was created months before we even started to hear about COVID. It was a very strange coincidence.
Mm-hmm.
And so this movie is now going to the Glasgow Film Festival.
Mm-hmm.
And are there like any more film festivals you guys are heading to with this movie?
Yeah, we have a few more, but they haven't been announced publicly yet. So we're taking it on a film festival circuit. That's we're going to have a Canadian premiere. We're going to have a US premiere coming up in the next couple of months. Those announcements are coming up soon. But if I shared them with you now, I'd be killed.
Oh, okay. Can you then maybe share something about your upcoming projects, or are they also very classified?
No, I don't think so. I shot another film just a few months after this in the Cayman Islands that will also be coming out sometime in the upcoming months, but we're still waiting on more news about that. It's called Daniel's Gotta Die, and it's a thriller comedy. So that's my upcoming project that will be out not too long actually after Ashgrove is released. And Amanda's shooting right now, right? Oh
yeah, and Amanda's one of the series regulars on Handmaid's Tale, Emmy award-winning series that she's currently shooting season 5, and also has a really cool movie. Was it Infinity Pool?
Yeah, Infinity Pool is coming out. Brandon Cronenberg's Infinity Pool. We're hoping that it goes to Cannes. I'm not sure, but if not Berlin, and yeah, it's pretty exciting. It's a year of exciting festivals.
And then I shot a sex comedy, a sexy romantic comedy called The End of Sex that we are in post-production on now, that I wrote and play in an actor in, and then that's going to come out in the fall. So we all have lots of stuff coming up that we're excited about, but nothing quite as exciting as Ashgrove.
I know. So yeah, just describe this movie in one sentence and why people have to watch this.
Jeremy, go.
Oh no, it's go ahead, Jonas, you do it.
Okay,
Jonas.
I kind of have one ready. I kind of have that ready.
Okay.
Here's my take on it. A couple struggling with their marriage takes a weekend to try to repair their relationship at the family farm, and they quickly realize that their ability to save their marriage will determine the fate of humankind itself. Huh?
Okay. Nice. Let's see who can top this.
Jer?
That's pretty good. I'm gonna leave Jonas with that.
Okay.
I get the last word.
Yeah.
No.
I think. Yeah. Okay. Well,
Jeremy, you should say in one sentence, why should people watch?
Yeah.
Why should people watch this?
It's a fun romp for the whole family. No.
I don't think that's the case, but anyway.
It's a film that'll make you feel better about being stuck with other people.
That's good.
Okay, well, that's a good takeaway, I guess. Okay, well, guys, thank you so much for this interview.
We're talking to Professor of Water Chemistry, Dr. Jennifer Ashgrove, one of the many scientists around the world trying to find a solution to the water pandemic.
This virus feeds on oxygen molecules in the water that we drink, making water consumption toxic and eventually fatal.
Of all the teams around the world, you might be the closest to a breakthrough.
Hi, I'm Dr. Lakeland. You feeling okay, Jennifer? I understand you have a bit of a history of having blackouts, is that correct? I know that you're under unimaginable stress. Take a little bit of time off, reset your system a bit.
It's not possible.
I'm just talking about a weekend.
We have a farm.
That sounds great.
Listen, I'm gonna do whatever I need to do to let you guys know that I am okay and to get you off of my back.
I'm trying. Yeah, she's in the hammock.
Just tell her.
That is not an option. Jen?
Jason, what's going on?
You don't understand.
You've been weird lately. I'm a little scared. I heard hushed voices.
I'm so sorry.
What are you doing? Why have you been lying to me?
There's a lot going on right now, okay?
What is going on then?
You're the scientist they plucked from obscurity to fix everything.
Who are you? I don't understand what's going on. I don't remember what happened.
You have information locked in your brain that could save the human race. If we don't get it, we're all gone.